At Bulldog Burger, we take the burger game to the next level, like the Freshman 15, stacked with panko fried mozzarella. Unleash your appetite.
The holidays are coming, and so are your relatives. Room to Room is here to help you get ready for company. Enjoy 50% off on the furniture you need, dining, sleepers, mattresses, and more. Plus 24-month special financing. Company's coming. Get ready at Room to Room Tupelo.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Well, you've heard of the calm before the storm. Well, we're talking here in Mississippi about the calm before the showers. Not storms, but yes, moderate rainfall is in the forecast pushing into our Tuesday. Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor, and we are tracking a soggy forecast for the latter part of our Tuesday, but we'll get into that timing here in just a moment. As we take a look at headlines here in the Room to Room Weather Center, rain chances, of course, increasing into Tuesday. Been mentioning that several times now, and the 10 o'clock just started, but we also are tracking drier conditions beyond that front, and that's going to be a fantastic forecast for your Halloween. But until then, temperatures remaining mild. And that's just a result of that moisture that is in the air. And Melissa, moments away from impact there in Jamaica and Cuba. Tracking the latest on that hurricane, the major hurricane working through the Caribbean. Just going to be a devastating storm. We'll look at the latest track that we have here in the Room to Room Weather Center. The first 12 showcase those dry conditions, 57 by 11, 55 by 2, and 54 by 5. I'm going to take a step over here, and you might see behind me that rain chances do kick into the forecast by 11 a.m., and that's at 20%, and it only goes up from there. So have that rain gear ready. You won't need it in the morning commute, but trust me, you'll be glad you have it as you get into that commute home. Aberdeen, 57 degrees right now, a very not hot environment, but humid environment. And you can see some of that cloud cover moving through the area, those low-lying clouds. These aren't anything to worry about. These are just stratus clouds blanketing the sky, acting as that literal blanket, trapping that heat here on the surface, and that's why we have those mild conditions. 61 degrees in Cleveland. Dew point's currently at 57 still with those stratus clouds across the region. Just again, blanketing the sky and making for a mild start to our Tuesday. When you look at wind speeds, not going to be overly intense, and this could result in some patchy fog towards your Tuesday morning, so watching for that. But either way, I mean, these winds are really cycling in that southerly air, and that's that Gulf air, and of course, Gulf air is warm and moist, so that sets the scene for that active pattern with that those soggy conditions by our Tuesday. Wind gusts upwards of 10 miles an hour out there in the Delta, and then northeast Mississippi, same thing, 10 to 12 miles an hour. So that's really cycling in that moisture back into the forecast and making way for those showers inching closer and closer from the west. Mississippi Live Weather Radar right now, dry as can be, although it is going to be a cloudy forecast overnight. So those little batches of rain chances that our Futurecast was tracking earlier on in the evening, like we said, a little bit overambitious, and it verified exactly that. So rain chances going to be hard to come by as we head into that extended forecast overnight, but not going to be too far out of the picture as we really extend things out. You can see that low working its way through Texas and Oklahoma City. This is actually attached to another low that was a part of that trough. That low well into Canada, and you can see that cold front right there. Unfortunately, it's showing up as a trough axis, but that cold front, you can kind of get the visual right there, working its way through South Dakota, North Dakota, and Nebraska, even there towards parts of Kansas. But as this low matures down south, that's going to be moving right over the top of us and giving us some elevated chances of rainfall by our Tuesday. So there you're getting a look at it by those midnight hours. Still far away from us here in North Mississippi, but we could get some prefrontal action due to that warm front lifting into our region. I mean, you can see those bands working their way through southeastern Oklahoma all the way towards Pine Bluff, Arkansas. This is going to be 3, 4 o'clock on your Tuesday morning. So 6 a.m., yes, there's a little bit of those greens popping up, but what did we see at 6 o'clock? That same thing, and that never verified. And so we still think that a lot of this will be elevated or so light it'll be even hard to notice. So 6 a.m. still mostly dry for that morning commute, but those bands working their way into our area and not too far away from that forecast. By 9 a.m., you're really getting a good look right there as it's closer to Greenville and Pine Bluff, inching closer across the Mississippi River and making way for some elevated chances of rainfall towards our late Tuesday morning there for Greenville, Drew, and Clarksdale. It's going to be this boundary right here that's set up right along I-55. So if you live west of this line, that's going to be the highest rain chances for you by that morning time. But into the late morning for folks east of there, not exactly going to be that high on chances, probably about 10 to 20% east of 55. But then you can see moving into that extended forecast, not exactly going to have that boundary set up forever. Post noon, a lot of that does shift east and give us at least light to moderate showers beyond that noon time frame. So early morning hours, staying dry, staying cloudy, but beyond that, scattered showers do move into the forecast by noon, really upping in rain chances as we head further into those evening plans. So by 4, 5, and 6 o'clock, we're talking 50% coverage, if not higher. As we head through those hours, we could be upwards of 60 to potentially 70%, depending on how that front and that whole entire frontal system moves through the region. So that's one of the things we'll be walking through in detail in the Room to Room Weather Center, is going to be how that load tracks out for folks here in North Mississippi, taking you county by county as we get further in our broadcast tonight at 10. We're also taking a look at Melissa, again, moments away from making impacts there towards Jamaica. Go ahead and say your prayers, because this is going to be a strong storm that will be devastating in nature. I'd like to think positive in this situation. Hopefully that people are prepared for this, but Category 5 making landfall is never a good thing. And we'll look at that in a little bit more detail coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 10 in the next 60.
At First Choice Bank, we know you can't always make it before the bank closes. With our integrated teller, you can talk to a live person as late as 7 p.m. on weekdays and noon on Saturdays. It's not just an ATM, it's an ITM. First Choice Bank, your choice for banking.
If you love them enough to drive an hour to cheer them on as they get beat 11-0 in the rain, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the-right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
You may see a teen struggling to find his way. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we see a teen gaining the confidence and skills to land his first job. Kids today need people to see their potential and help them achieve it. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we do whatever it takes to help kids succeed. Because when we see young people, we see limitless possibilities. Do you? Join us, Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynard.
A mild and cloudy evening across North Mississippi as we head into our Monday night and Tuesday morning. 63 degrees in Winona, a beautiful shot there in Montgomery County. Shout out to the North Mississippi Storm Chasers. What you're getting right now is the stratus clouds there across the horizon, as well as a few lower clouds, not exactly lower in the form of severe weather, but lower just kind of acting as that thick blanket in the sky. A very dense cloud cover, not allowing any of that sunshine or any of those clear skies showing off. As you take a look down south in Columbus, you are getting some slick roadways, I will say. At least a little bit of that moisture trying to linger on those roadways. So if you're traveling on 82, make sure to drive maybe a few miles an hour slower, just to accommodate for some of those wet conditions on those roadways. Now, why is it wet? Well, we haven't really had rainfall today. We had that little stripe earlier on this morning. Since then, it all cleared out, and the reason why it's not really dried up is because, did you see the sunshine today? I know I didn't. And whenever we don't have that sunshine and whenever there's very little wind, it doesn't exactly dry up what's on the surface. So you probably still walk outside, walk in your front yard, and feel that mushiness of the ground, or at least maybe a few puddles if you got that much rainfall. But nonetheless, it is still a soggy forecast, whether it's raining or not overnight, because there's nothing drying up what we've gotten so far. And so as we head into that extended forecast, we do expect more rainfall, but rainfall totals over the past 24 hours, a lot of this was from late last night, but a few of those showers were earlier this morning, and that was over in the southern Lee County area, just around 3/4 of an inch. Fulton getting some as well, around that same margin. But if we look at some of those higher rainfall totals out west earlier, or should I say later last night, earlier this morning, we're looking over an inch in some spots, and that's a realistic possibility as we get into that extended forecast. So make sure to have that rain gear ready, because things do start to shift in that extended forecast. Of course, that large batch of moisture made its way out into Alabama and Georgia. That's where the rain chances really picked up. But here in North Mississippi, our best threat was last night, and honestly all throughout your Sunday. Now we are looking at our next system. This is working its way through Colorado, Nebraska, and South Dakota. Now, not a ton of rainfall down here. If we populate in a few of those totals, I bet you it would just say trace amounts. Yeah, exactly. So this isn't going to be anything that's really measurable so far out west, but it is building over time. And so once it reaches North Mississippi, then we could see some impacts and significant rainfall at that. So excited about it? Yeah, because we do still need rainfall, and as each day passes with this rainfall, making a more significant dent on that monitor. Midnight, 56 degrees, 55 there by 3 and 53 by 6 a.m. A very mild start to the day compared to where we should be at this time of year. That's all due to that cloud cover lingering in the forecast, acting as that blanket in the sky. I'm going to keep saying it because that's the best analogy that I can use to kind of describe the atmosphere that we're in. So overnight, what do you guys see? A lot of light showers. Not exactly going to verify. A lot of this more elevated, and really whenever I see these light green blips, what this really means is that it's just going to be a blanket of cloud cover, that dense cloud cover with all of that moisture in the air, allowing for those clouds to continue to build and stick around. Could we get a few drops of sprinkles? For sure, but overall I'm not concerned about significant rainfall. More than likely 90% of us staying dry overnight. That of course continues into those morning hours, maybe getting a little bit of development out there towards Olive Branch and Marshall County. That's 6 a.m. on your Tuesday, but elsewhere still just going to be that dense cloud cover. So morning lows going to be impacted due to how cloudy things are. 53 in Tupelo, 53 down in Starkville, 52 Oxford, and 55 there towards Greenwood. We keep that forecast going with our school day forecast. Oh, did I cancel it out? No, we're going to talk to you students now. Bear with me one moment while I pull this up. All right, there we go. Looking at that school day forecast, can't forget our students and teachers. Shout out my wife. She is a teacher and she needs to know the forecast. 53 degrees by drop off, so a mild start to the day. Still need long sleeves, but not going to need it for too long. 62 by lunch and 65 by that final bell. Definitely going to need the rain jacket by the afternoon as scattered showers work their way across North Mississippi. And we talked earlier, west of I-55, that's going to be the first threat, but east of I-55 going to be there by the time we commute home from school. We'll see that exactly right here on Futurecast. As you can see, 7:30, dry conditions across the region once again. But there's that moisture moving close to Greenville by 9 a.m., those inching across the Mississippi River and making way for a lot of portions out west of I-55. Like I mentioned, if you have an AM in your time frame, then you're going to see primary impacts west of 55. East of 55 comes in that early to late afternoon forecast. And of course, starting off light to moderate at first, but then building over time because a lot of these heavy showers work their way eastward. Now, it wouldn't surprise me to hear a few rumbles of thunder, but I'm not overly concerned at severe weather. This is not exactly the threat that we get for severe weather to take place. Not even strong storms are expected. What main thing we're going to get is going to be those moderate to heavy downpours with these yellows and reds that are showing up. Those darker greens, moderate rainfall, and then the lighter greens, light rainfall. So that's the extent of how to read this graphic going forward. As you can see, a lot of those reds and yellows do work their way through the region, upping some of those rain totals, realistic possibility, and we could see 2+ inches in some spots, and that's going to really make a dent on that drought monitor. So Tuesday afternoon, being that it is going to be a cloudy, mild day all the way around, temperatures pretty uniform. They're going to start in the low to mid 50s, climb into the mid to upper 60s with 66 in Tupelo, 68 Water Valley, 67 Clarksdale, and 70 there towards Greenwood. We keep that forecast going, and of course rainfall is still the name of the game. And as I expand things out right here, you can get a better visual on what's working its way through the region. So we have this low pressure system that's kind of got this counterclockwise motion to it. So that wraps around these bands of rainfall over here to North Mississippi, getting into our Tuesday night. Now, a few of these could be some significant rainfall, some heavier rainfall, a realistic possibility. But again, no severe weather is expected, and that's a fortunate thing. But what we're getting on the back end of this, you can kind of see this wraparound moisture that's already taking place. And folks in Arkansas getting a saturated forecast Tuesday morning and then into Tuesday night as well, due to that low remaining right over the top of them. Well, here's the thing. Where does that low go? Right over the top of us. So we're getting a lot of those heavy downpours as well. And some of those rain totals beyond that midnight hour, we could be talking 3-4 inches in total over the next 36 to 48 hours. So this is going to be a very wet forecast in summary, a soggy forecast for some spots. So make sure to have that umbrella on standby. Expanding things out, of course, you can see all that frontal system on the diminishing side, but still giving us a lot of rainfall. You can see that it does start to have that wraparound moisture with some of these light to moderate showers there towards Little Rock, and those trying to work their way into North Mississippi as well. Now, this is Wednesday at 9 a.m., and if we bring it back to our home view, you can see that a lot of these showers still on the lighter side, but that moderate rainfall kicking in along the Mississippi River, moving towards Tunica County on into Panola County before reaching Allabusha County closer to about noontime. Now, this is definitely going to have some brief heavy downpours as well, adding to some of those rainfall totals. So honestly, it would not be a stretch if it's over 4 inches over the next 48 hours, just because of how these showers can line up. We could see some localized flash flooding because, like I said, the ground's already damp and some spots soggy. So if we're adding 2, 3, maybe even 4 inches of rainfall on top of that, then flooding becomes a realistic possibility, especially when there's no sunshine to dry up that atmosphere. Or I guess there would be a little bit of wind by this point, but that remains to be seen of just how much this could dry up. So make sure to pay attention. And of course, we will keep you updated here at Mississippi Live Weather. And if you do have any reports of flooding, forward that to us. You can use the Mississippi Live Weather app. You scroll down on that home page and it says submit your pictures. Just go ahead and do so and let us know, and we'll forward that information to the folks that need to know. 6 p.m. still isolated in nature, but light to moderate showers sticking around in that forecast, as will be the case overnight before starting to dry up in that extended forecast. So high temperatures, as you can see, our normal is 71 degrees. Well, with the cloudy conditions that we're getting, not anywhere close to that. We're only climbing into the upper 50s in some spots, mid 50s in others like Water Valley, and low 50s towards South Haven, Holly Springs, and there towards Oxford. Now, if we take a look at Melissa continues to be the big story despite us getting rainfall in that next 24 to 48 hours. Take a look at our water vapor imagery right now. You're still getting those bands just wrapping around, pelting Jamaica and Cuba, but working its way more in this north and I would dare say northeast track. We're starting to transition just a bit as that trough is kind of guiding it over there towards the northeast right into Jamaica. So as we track the tropics here real quick, you can see that 10 o'clock advisory, 175 miles an hour on those winds. Just wrap your mind around that. That is insane. And then some gusts getting upwards of 200 miles an hour. So this is a very strong storm, still at Category 5 strength as we reach that 10 o'clock hour. But what I want you to really pay attention to, 903 millibars. That is the 9th lowest pressure on any system in American history or Atlantic history. Whenever these systems do form, it was, I believe, 1 millibar higher from the peak intensity of Katrina back I believe it was 05 or 06. I always get it backwards. But back when Katrina was forming, it was 1 millibar above that threshold. And we know how strong Katrina was, and that's what's happening down there in Jamaica. So say a prayer for folks down there. Let's go ahead and track this out. And as you can see, it's moving in that northeast track, still at Category 5 strength. Apologize. It's still at Category 5 strength. And as it works its way over there towards the northeast, moving over Jamaica, has a little bit of shear that's going to just kind of diminish the strength of that storm, but not by much. We're only talking about dropping it 1 category, still at Category 4 strength, moving into Cuba, and then Cuba impacting it as it moves into that extended forecast, taking away a good bit of its strength. But still, by then, you know, it's a fish storm. It's moving away from those land masses and not posing a threat for anyone once it reaches Wednesday afternoon and evening. So it's going to be a busy time, and it's going to be a very unfortunate and devastating time. You're going to see a lot of reports coming out of Jamaica in the next 24 to 48 hours. So say a prayer for them. That's all we can do in these situations as the evacuation has already taken place. It's too late for that now. If you saw the Hurricane Hunters video, they were right in the heart of the storm, and that was just an insane eye wall, miles across. That's how large this storm is. So make sure to just keep in your prayers tonight, and of course, all throughout the next couple of days, as that recovery process is going to be longer than just 24 hours. It's going to be weeks, months, possibly even years before they're back fully going. So as we keep tracking Melissa, moving into the Atlantic, Category 1 strength by Thursday evening and moving away from the United States, no longer posing a threat for us, and then it will drop into tropical storm strength once it's off that Vancouver coast. Actually, not Vancouver. Oh, I forgot the Canadian island up there. Anyway, off of Maine. There you go. I know my American states. So beyond that, you know, we're just not really tracking this for any more impacts here, and no impacts here in the United States. That's the one good thing we can take with this forecast, but we hate that it's making landfall at all, especially at the strength that it's at. So keep them in your thoughts this evening. As we look at our forecast, 60% that has been upped since that 6 o'clock hour. I talked to you guys about potentially upping it. Well, I ended up pulling the trigger on that and ended up making it happen. Wednesday, same thing, 30 up to 40% now. Thursday and Friday, though, much drier conditions. Your Halloween forecast looking superb, but cold. 38 degrees to start the day. And even as we get into our Friday evening, those temperatures are going to drop into the low 40s with a few upper 30s still lingering in that forecast. So yeah, layers might be necessary as you go trick-or-treating, depending on the costume that you have. If you haven't picked out a costume, then do one with layers, is my advice. So this is going to be a busy forecast for the next couple of days, but beyond that, it's going to be calm, it's going to be fall, it's going to be cool. That's typically what we expect this time of year, so not too bad at all. So, of course, you can track that forecast using the Mississippi Live Weather app, free and available on iOS and Android, so make sure to give that a download today, and we'll keep you guys posted on those, what to expect in the morning. Chief Meteorologist Matt Laupon going to be live tomorrow morning at 6:37 and 7:30, and we'll be back tomorrow evening for the very latest on that forecast and tracking, of course, rain chances as we get into our Tuesday evening plans. So thank you so much for keeping it with us, and again, keep Jamaica and Cuba Nova in your thoughts and prayers, and we will keep you guys posted on what's happening as we head over the next couple of days. You guys have a great night. We'll see you bright and early.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. But only you can prevent wildfires.
One in 10 kids vape. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes.
The Health Class Film Guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Talk to your child about vaping today.